Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Bloom Outdoors. So if you have not catched the video of me installing this, which is the heads-up display, or otherwise known as HUD from F-150 LEDs, make sure you go check out that video. If you remember from the video, or if you've seen it already, you would know I used to have this on, which this is that little piece of, I don't even know what it is. It's just that little reflector that was up there before. And it helped really nice for reflecting the heads-up display. But if you've seen the video, you know that I was not a huge fan of that reflector being there. At that time, well, as you can notice right now, I do have tint on the windshield. I do have 5% up here and 45% on the rest of the windshield, which now it's kind of hard to tell because it is daylight outside. It reflects really well. But when there was no tint on the windshield, if you've seen the video, you would know it had like a double figure going on where you could see like the 0 miles per hour, by the way. It was like a double 0, like there was one up top and one down low, and they crossed, and it looked super funky and weird. So I had to throw that reflector on, but from the outside, it looked terrible. There was just this weird shiny square right there on the outside. So make sure you check out that video if you haven't seen it. But part of the reason I tinted the windshield was because of that heads-up display. Now that there's tint on the windshield, it does not do that. There was something weird with it just being straight up glass as the background to where it would do that double figure thing. And I didn't want anything super dark on the windshield, so I just went with 45%. So now I do not have to use that dumb screen there. You can just straight up see the reflection. Sometimes it gets to be a little hard like this, mainly when it's just super sunny and bright out. We got some cloud cover outside, if you can tell. So it's not terrible to see it. It's actually pretty nice. It's hard to tell on camera. You can't really see the blue so well, but in person I can see it fine. It's the time and then the RPMs up top. It looks pretty good like this. I like it, but I was not a fan of this reflector. This guy right here, I was not a fan of that reflector being on the windshield, so I got the whole thing tinted. Might be hard to tell, but you can definitely tell the outside light is brighter than what this is. This is just normal air, and this would be 45% tint. So definitely an improvement. I'm glad I did the tint because I did not like that reflector on the outside. As you could tell right there, the thing just shut off. So one thing I have noticed with it is when you are in park for probably like 2 minutes or more, probably 3 minutes, because it says that's about how long I've been recording. So, or 4 minutes, I don't know. A couple minutes being in park, this guy automatically shuts off. So, I mean, it's kind of nice, but I don't know. Take it for a drive here and I'll show you guys what happens then. So we put it in drive and it takes a minute for it to kick back on. So that's one thing to note, is if you start up your truck, or let's say you forget something inside, run back out, this thing will be shut off. So that's definitely one thing to note. This thing is not broken or disconnected at all. It just shuts off once the truck is in park for a couple of minutes. Get out on the road, see how long it takes to turn on. The first time or so it happened to me, I honestly thought the thing broke and it was disconnected, or something happened to it because it did not turn on, so I thought that was kind of funky. But after driving it a while, and I realized a couple times after it's in park, the thing automatically shuts off, maybe just to not waste power. Yeah, there we go. So it was about, yeah, see if you could tell right there, it kind of throws a little code or something at first. And that pops up for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then the heads-up display works. It took about a minute for it to turn back on after we had been parked from driving. As you can tell, not bad to see at all. Pretty nice and handy. I like it a lot. Don't have to be looking down all the time. I can just look forward and still see it. But that's definitely one thing to note. If your windshield is not tinted, you're definitely going to need that reflector piece up there. And it does not look good from the outside, and in my opinion, it does not look good from the inside at all. So if you're gonna do it, tint your windshield, or if you just don't care about looks, then I guess you can go with the reflector. But that's definitely one thing I've noticed is, I watched a video from F-150 LEDs because that's where I bought it from. The guy, Nick, in the video, he was saying how on his like Raptor or whatever he had it on, then he did not use the reflector. So either he's got some screwed up eyes or something for not using the reflector, because it, you know, does that double appearance thing I showed you guys in the last video, or his windshield's tinted, and that has been the only way I have found for it to work. Another thing to note with this heads-up display is it is not only for the driver. If you are in the passenger seat, I can try and hold the camera out over there. Not sure if you guys can see it or anything, but passengers can most definitely see it. I've stood outside the truck and I have not been able to see it. I don't think it goes through, you know, so like other people can see it from the outside or anything, but your passenger can see it, so they're gonna know like what your speed is and stuff all the time. But it's not like in a BMW or whatever where it pops up right in front of you and you're the only person to see it. Anybody in the truck, or even if you roll the window down, somebody can look in and they can see it as well. Another thing about it is it comes with a little instruction sheet for the settings where you can scroll through and you have a whole different variety of options that you can select for settings. I've just got RPMs, the time, and miles per hour shown up there. Another thing is with the time, it only does the 24-hour time or military time, whatever you want to call it. So it'll pop up 12 for the time. Right now it's showing 11, and then it'll be 12, and then it'll show up as 13. It will not go back to 1. So that is definitely something to note with it as well. Maybe you can change it somehow, but I've scrolled through it a couple times and I've tried to look and I haven't been able to figure it out. So now we're parked here in front of the garage. As you can tell, the garage is white, as well as the miles per hour thing is white. It can sometimes be a little difficult to see it due to what is behind it, but that is also because I don't have the reflector on. When I had the reflector on, it made this whole entire thing look darker. Like on camera, it's hard to see the blue, and honestly, kind of even hard to see the white. With the reflector on, you could see it all perfectly fine in the daylight and the nighttime, but it is a little difficult to see during the daytime without the reflector on there, just with even the tinted on the windshield. But that is just 45%. I could have gone with like 35, and I'm sure you could have seen it just fine, but I didn't want anything that dark. Another thing with the settings, like I said, you can go through and you can select all different kinds of settings, pick whatever you want for your settings to be that pop up on there. Also, you can calibrate your speedometer that pops up on there. So let's say if you've got like bigger tires, you can calibrate it, go through and calibrate it so that maybe the speed right here is saying 40 miles an hour, but up here it's showing 45 miles an hour because you're actually going 45 because you've got bigger tires. That's another thing too, is the RPMs. You can set the RPMs however you want them to read, just like calibrating it is a certain way. I want to say I bought it for about $150, $160. It's definitely worth the money, I think, as long as you have like a tinted windshield or something, because like I said many times, I do not like that reflector that shows up there. So with the reflector, I would not buy it, honestly. I would tint the windshield and then do it, because I cannot stand the look of that reflector from the inside or outside. It looked super bad. Did not like it at all. But like this, I think it's worth the money, and I definitely like it a lot more than how it was with the reflector on there. But overall, I think I've covered everything. The install on it was super easy. You just would plug it into the OBD2 port, and it stays hooked up to the OBD2 port the entire time as well. So if you have a tune that you want to monitor live with or something, you cannot use the heads-up display. I have a tune, but I plug it in, downloaded the tune, and then I pulled it out and the tune stayed downloaded onto the truck, so I could plug the heads-up display back in and continue to use it because I am a fan of it. And here you can tell the sun's starting to come out, and it definitely makes it harder to see the 0 there for the miles an hour. Probably got to get a little closer to look at it. Yeah, there you go. Sun's coming out. But honestly, in this light, you can barely even see the blue. You can kind of see the white. Definitely going to be hard to see on camera, but I'm just talking about like my normal eyes. But other than that, I think I've covered everything with it. If not, drop a comment down below. Let me know any questions you guys have about it or anything else I left out and you guys want to know. But as always, thanks for watching another video of Bloom Outdoors. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.